do the same thing for all of these. So object, set origin, center of mass, volume, same thing over and over again for all of the different letters, which doesn't take too much time either. There is, like I said, there is another way to do this, but I'm going to do this for today's tutorial. There's plenty of other ways to do pretty much everything in Blender, but I'm just going to do it like this for today because we're switching it up and I like it. So we'll open up this once again, and we'll change the Z values for all of these to 0. So now we have 0, 0, 0, 0, enter, 0, enter, 0, enter, and 0, enter. Now we have each one of these as a separate letter, which is nice. We'll turn this little show full transparent scene off. If we can close that now. Now, if we were to go ahead and duplicate each one of these letters by holding down Shift and selecting each one of them, you can see that if we hit Shift D, duplicate, right click to cancel the movement, then S, Y to scale on the Y axis, then instead of doing each one of these individually, we can just go up to the this little pivot point and select individual origins. Now if we hit S to scale this up, you can see we can scale it up on each letter, and now it is perfectly scalable. Now you can see some of the letters are still a little bit off, so what we can do to fix this is by holding down, by grabbing each one of the letters, hitting S, you can see some of them are still off because the center of the objects are still kind of a little messed up. So we can fix this by scaling. If I grab the P, just the P by itself, you can see if I were to scale this, it's not going to be perfectly the center. You can see we have this piece right here that's not lining up. So if we were to go ahead and move it off to the side, you can see it's not really going to work that fine. But we can do this still. There we go. Select them all and hit S to scale them up just a little bit, and then we can go in by hand and fix the pieces that we need to fix because not that much. It's better than doing it the way it was before. So with the face select mode, we'll select that face, hit period to zoom into that specific place so you can rotate more easily, G, X, and pull it out just a little bit so it's a bit even. A little bit of handiwork here. We'll do the same thing on this side so it's a bit more even, and just anywhere where it needs it, kind of in the middle here as well. So we'll hold down Shift Alt, and then we'll just scale all that by hitting S, and we'll just move it over a little bit. We can do a little bit of this by hand because it's just much easier to do by hand than it is to get it perfectly without doing that. So we'll select both of these, go back to median point, and then we'll just hit SX, sorry, to scale it on the X axis. Same thing up here, GZ to move it up, and then we'll select all of this. So we will select Shift Alt for all of this here. We can go and hit 1 on my numpad to go in the front facing view, turn back on the transparent thing, and then we'll just select all of the vertices in the eye here, all the faces in the eye rather. Make sure we got them all selected. Looks like we do. Now we can turn the whole transparent scene back off, and then just move it down. Make sure it's there a proper amount of scale. And we'll do the same thing for the rest of all of the letters here until they're all where I want to get them. And I will fast forward through all of this because it's going to take quite a bit of time. Now, if you have an intersection like this K here, you're going to want to have to either select all of the faces at the same time and move them. But you can see right here I'm having a problem because this little edge is the problem. So I go to Edge Select mode, grab the edge, and then hit G and just move it up until it is the correct dimensions, which is about right there. Same thing for down here as well. There we go. So now I'm gonna continue this process for the rest of the letters, and then I'll be back when I'm done with the rest of all of them. Alright, so I've finished all of the letters. We have all of the outermost pieces now, which looks pretty good. I want to go ahead, and now we have a little bit of they're a little bit too sharp. So what we're gonna do is with each one of these letters, we're gonna hit Tab to go into edit mode, and I'm going to select all of the edges here. So what we're going to do is I want to hold down Shift and Alt, double tap, so we'll select the entire edge loop all the way around. Then we can hit E to extrude, S to scale it up a little bit, just a little bit, and SY to scale it inwards a little bit. So it's not exactly the sharpest thing anymore, which looks nice. So we have a little bit of a round buffer there, which looks pretty sweet. And we'll do this for all the rest of the letters as well. We'll just eyeball it, just hit E to extrude, S to scale it up a little bit, SY to scale it in, maybe it up a little bit more. And we can do this for all the rest of the pieces as well. So this down here, all of these pieces. Some aren't going to loop all the way around, so we just select all of them by holding down Shift. We'll hit E, S to scale it up, SY to scale it inwards, and you can see what I'm going to do for all the rest of the letters as well. So I'll just go ahead and do that, and I'll be back once I'm done. Alright, so all of the letters are now a bit more rounded, which looks much better. We're going to go ahead and hit period so I can zoom into our text a little bit better. Alright, so now we need to go ahead and do the lettering, the coloring rather, for the actual word Pikachu. So we'll go ahead. Let's do the word detective too. So let's go ahead and go to rendered viewport shading just for a second because we've been doing a lot and not rendered. We'll go to the world tab, change the color to black, and with our word detective, I want to go ahead and add in a new material. This material will be blue. Actually, we can just eyedrop this, to be honest with you. We can just eyedrop, not a super bright one, not a super dark one, somewhere in the middle. Maybe this guy right here, the E, looks pretty good, and I'll just darken it just a little bit. Shift it a bit more away from the teal. That looks pretty good the way it is. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and I want to add in a lamp. So we'll hit Shift A to add in a light, and that'll be a sun. We'll hit RX to rotate it 90 degrees on my numpad. And then GY to move it backwards a little bit. And we will do the same thing. Actually, I want to change this to an area lamp, to be honest with you. And then we'll change the shape to square and turn the size way up. And then we'll hit Shift D and then RZ 180. We'll move it back behind the text. So now we have a backlight as well. And I'll turn the power down to maybe 2. 2 looks good. Yep. And that looks pretty good for the time being. I want to go ahead with the word detective. We could do a emission thing going on, but I don't really want to do that, and I'll tell you why in a second here. So let's go ahead and duplicate this, hit Shift D, and then we'll right click it to cancel the selection. Now with each of these, we have the little piece that we created, right? We have that little piece right there. So I want to go ahead and hold down Shift, Alt, and select all of these pieces, front and back. We don't really need to do the back, but just in case, I'm going to do it anyway. So we'll select, hold down Shift and Alt for all of these, and select every single one of them, just like this. And I'll go all the way through and I'll do them all. If you're having a difficult time selecting one of them because you're clicking in the middle of the face, click on one of the edges and it will select much easier. Alright. So we have all of those selected. We're going to go ahead and hit Control I and hit Delete Vertices. Now, if you take a look, we have all of those edges we just saved right there, which is nice because I want to go ahead and make sure that these are looking good. So we'll go ahead and go to the Modifiers tab. Add a modifier. This modifier will be a... where is it at? Why am I... oh, Solidify. Solidify modifier. Now we can go ahead and change the thickness outwards by negative 0.01. So now we have that looks good. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to go and make sure this is a new material by hitting this little 3. And we'll change this from Principal BSDF to Emission. And this emission color will be pretty much white, just with a little bit of a bluish tinge, like that. Now, if we turn off that for a second, I missed the E, didn't I? I did. I missed the E. Doggone it. Well, let's go ahead and let's do that again. See, this is what you don't want to happen. You do not want to miss one by accident. So there we go. I did miss the E. Let's go ahead and make sure I select that this time. And there we go. All right, so let's go ahead, and that's the right one. So we'll hit Control I again, then we delete vertices. Now I should have all of them. I think I do. Let's do that one more time. On camera, modifier, solidify, and thickness, negative 0.01. All right, so that looks good. I think I have them all now. We can go ahead and assign that material once again. So we'll select the text, not in edit mode. 3. We'll change it to emission and give it a very slightly blue color. Alright, so now if we take a look at that,